Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! As Roland likes to say, it's hump day! What's going on, you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and I can't forget and will never forget, you haters. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Weirdly enough, I need the volume up loud in my ears. I'm not going deaf. I just love the sound of my own voice. No, I'm kidding. It's an audio thing. I'm addicted to it. You should hear it when I drive in my car. I am one of those obnoxious people who blast their music while driving. I know it is. I see other guys do it. You do. Yeah, I see people when they do it on the street and I go, ghetto. But I do it myself because I believe my music is impeccable. My music taste is impeccable. I do it all the time, so I love having my headphones up loud. I'm hoping that the Connecticut Sentinel is listening. I sent them an alert on X. Please make sure. Go nowhere. The next, I will say that bottom of this hour, I need to give them a shout-out because of something that they did that made me do a story yesterday, and then what we did for them that they may not know about. So we're going to let them know about it today. So stand by, Connecticut Sentinel, of course. And I want to thank them for always posting my Substack article in their publication. That means a lot. They did it. I did not ask. They took it upon themselves. They loved the writing, and they put it on their website. So that means the world to me. And great group of people. Today we got a lot of stuff to get into on one very singular subject. And because I am black in the time that we live in, I have, unfortunately, had to reach for very low-hanging fruit. And it has been done for satire in some ways, but to save lives in other. I can balance the two. In one breath, I can literally go from Negro nonsense and talk about the absurdity of that, at the same time talk about the importance of recognizing what is happening in that community, so-called community. I could do it. Seamless. But what happened yesterday is bigger than black and white. Far bigger than that. I talked about a controversial series that is out now by Chad O. Jackson. And by the way, Adam 12, a.k.a. Booker T. White. We need to get, what's his face? We need to get Chad O. Jackson on the program. And we need to do that soon. Now, the audio's correct there, Jeannie. It looks like my audio's going through. Double check again. You may have to check the volume. Anyway, Chad O. Jackson, who did the MLK files. No, the MLK Project. I apologize. Wrong title. MLK Project. And I watched the first season. And the second season I have to get into. But I have been so busy with so many different things. I haven't had the chance to really sit down and watch it, which I need to do like on the weekend. If Roseanne would only give me a minute. Anyway, what Chad O. Jackson is revealing in this second part of his documentary, the second season, is how the American people were gaslit through the civil rights movement. Now, hear me out before all the rabble-rousers go nuts. Listen very closely. There were good-intentioned people inside the civil rights movement. They believed in the cause. It is unfortunate that the powers that be of that movement were not honest. And that's what Chad O. Jackson is breaking down. And he is also separating another cause that was happening parallel to the movement of Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King Jr., and all the usuals. Weirdly enough, the people who noticed it the most were people like Malcolm X, who you may remember was very opposed to the civil rights movement of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They were known politically and publicly as, I don't want to say enemies, but adversaries. Many people tried to chalk it up to something like, Martin Luther King, was a turn the other cheek civil rights leader, civil disobedience, where Malcolm X was, let's carry guns and punch these white folks in the face. That is a little exaggerant, to say the least, but I digress. What Chad O. Jackson is revealing in this series is how we were led to believe certain things about certain people. In particular, the Klan. You see, Chad O. Jackson isn't saying that the Klan didn't hate Jews or didn't hate blacks and subjugated women. No. All of that was true. But they forget that the Klan hated communists. And the Klan recognized in the civil rights movement that there were communists. And Chad O. Jackson reveals that in this series. All history is complicated. It is presented simplistically. That's why it's important to know that. But anyway, getting back to my point. What happened yesterday with Kash Patel and, what's his name, Todd Blanche? What happened yesterday with the Southern Poverty Law Center is bigger than anyone will tell you. It says something about who we are as people and how you and I and even the left have been lied to or were led to believe something that clearly wasn't true. Now, let's start off with Kash Patel here, because this is important. Let's get to Kash Patel and what he said, because what he revealed in this is very important. Todd Blanche notwithstanding, here's Kash Patel.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive, sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the...
What happened?
I talk about a couple of brief things here. The Southern Poverty Law Center themselves advertise to raise money to dismantle violent extremist groups for a period of at least a decade. They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups. However, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the money they raised from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups. I just want to say that again. They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent extremist groups. The groups, as the general laid out, include the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, Unite to Right, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Aryan Nation Motorcycle Club, and the National Socialist Party of America, and also the American Front. In at least one of these matters, our investigation revealed that funds were used to facilitate the commission of further state and federal offenses, totaling over $3 million. Furthermore, our investigation revealed that the Southern Poverty Law Center, on top of perpetuating this widespread, decade-long, multi-million-dollar fraud, conducted more criminal activity. They attempted to hide their criminal activity from our financial banking network. They set up shell companies and entities around America so that the financial institutions that we rely on as everyday Americans were deceived in believing that money was not coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center in the perpetration of this scheme and fraud, but rather fictitious entities they stood up to perpetuate this ongoing fraud. This is a serious and egregious violation of a group that purported to dismantle violent extremist groups, but in turn actually only fueled the hatred. This is an important case brought by President Trump's administration. We're thankful for the President for his leadership and funding of not just the FBI and DOJ, but his commitment to go out there and wipe out fraud and conspiracy and waste and abuse wherever it occurs, including the Southern Poverty Law Center. Even though this money was made to appear to be coming from legitimate people and legitimate entities, we at the FBI, with our great partners at the Department of Justice and in the state of Alabama, were able to comb through a decade worth of material, a scheme that took a decade to build, so that we were able to follow the money, because money never lies.
And it doesn't. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center is the premier watchdog for hate groups. And they've been around for a long time. But they lost their way. And they lost their way back in as early as 2010. Started naming people as hate groups. Even a mom and pop herb shop that sold a Confederate paraphernalia or trinkets and old flags and Confederate, just like a small little shop that sells antiques. Just one little guy was put on their hate group map as a hate group. It was a one-man operation. Members of the Senate like Ted Cruz, or members of the cabinet of Donald Trump like, we're talking Ben Carson, was targeted by the Southern Poverty Law Center. That's who they were calling hate groups or people aligned with hatred. What we're learning here in this indictment is that the Southern Poverty Law Center, a group that was supported by Democrats and Republicans alike, according to Jamie Raskin.
Now, in other times, Democrats and Republicans alike would rely on the Southern Poverty Law Center to help us.
Was the premier group that was used and promoted and received millions of dollars because of their so-called good works. Jamie Raskin again.
Now, in other times, Democrats and Republicans alike would rely on the Southern Poverty Law Center to help us keep track of the movements of violent white supremacy in the country. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been a vigilant voice in civil society against radical white nationalist violence and extremism, neo-Nazism, and other forces across the political spectrum that spread organized hate from any quarter.
Now, it would be one thing if that was a very old clip of the Maryland congressman, Jamie Raskin. That clip is from December of 2025. Yes, 5 months ago. During an investigation that revealed that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying to create racism. And in our modern history, it was the institute, the organization that paid for what we saw that turned into a political issue during an election and thereafter. It was used as a cudgel against Donald Trump. Lies were told. They were allowed to continue. The media, every part of the media, did nothing to correct the record. And I mean nothing to correct the record, even though the videotape was there. Some tried online, but the mainstream news media, no, they did not. They did no such thing. Can you give me a second here? Let me see if I can give you an example of this. This is, let me see, that's 2018, Don Lemon.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did.
Those are the receipts. Why doesn't President Trump condemn racism? His own words and actions tell you why. He's a racist.
Yeah. Why doesn't he condemn racists? They asked on Don Lemon tonight. Playing the clip of there were good people on both sides.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups.
Looks like CNN had the answer to that. But they didn't stop there. Even Jake Tapper got in on it. And he's what CNN is considering a straight journalist as opposed to Don Lemon, who's a liberal hack.
Okay, I'm being told we have it. Thank you. Run it, please.
Excuse me. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
That was President Trump saying that very fine people were marching alongside neo-Nazis and skinheads and white supremacists, people who had chanted Jews will not. Yes, those people, the anti-Semites in Charlottesville.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups.
And that was used against Donald Trump in the 2020 election. When we come back, we'll talk about even after 2019, 4 years later in 2023, CNN brought it right back up, and they had an opportunity to go through the tape and do it again. Stand by. More news, more views when we return. You don't want to miss it. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Plenty of stuff to get into. This Southern Poverty Law Center issue is very multi-pronged, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. As I told you, in 2018 and 2019, CNN was using the very fine people hoax to fight Donald Trump's reelection campaign in 2020. We'll get to that evidence in a second, because it was used again in 2024, 2023 in particular. But I want to read this quote, and I want you to think about the time and who wrote it. This comes from the 1911 book called My Larger Education, in a chapter titled The Intellectuals and the Boston Mob. Again, written in 1911 from the book My Larger Education by none other than a hero of mine, Booker T. Washington. He wrote this: there is another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public, having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles. They have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy, and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. The Southern Poverty Law Center bankrolled on that. How do we know? This image on ReeseOnTheRadio.com, if you're watching there, read it. For those of you on the radio and online, I'll read it for you. The Southern Poverty Law Center's revenue in October of 2016 was a whopping $51,871,438. Again, almost $52 million. That's what it took in. In October of 2017, just months after Charlottesville, it pulled in $133,463,398, an increase of $81,591,000. That's right. In 1 year. That's what the Southern Poverty Law Center did in promoting what happened in Charlottesville, which turns out to be the very event they are indicted for today. Paying radical fundamentalists to stoke racism, and then they promoting the opportunity to exercise that threat. They were pulling a Jussie Smollett on the country, and everyone was bankrolling on it. Here's some other people. Let me see. Let's go a little deeper here. Oh, as promised, let's go to the Anderson Cooper. What is this, 2023?
They were tapping into the deep and dark vein of what's known today as replacement theory. Now, most people watching that would be outraged. The former president said this.
They showed up in Charlottesville. Excuse me. Protest. Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as you. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Very fine people among Americans that night chanting Nazi slogans.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups.
And then in 2024, the year of the 2024 election, Jim Acosta.
Man who has often struggled to unequivocally denounce white supremacists.
They showed up in Charlottesville. Excuse me. To protest. Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as you. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Those words have power, they have meaning, and when Donald Trump speaks, the world listens. Neo-Nazis and white supremacists certainly listen. So why can't he denounce them? Why can't he reject their support?
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups.
And they all knew it was there. Sadly, many on the left knew it was there. Once they started investigating it, they realized that it was all false. We didn't get people to denounce the veracity of this claim for some 7 years. Knowing that the tape was out there, no one made the effort. I'll get into that in a bit. But I asked the question, what did the Southern Poverty Law Center's efforts to promote fake racism that ended a woman's life and got plenty of others injured and divided the country in 2017, more so than it ever was, promoted the president as a racist, a lie, an absolute lie. What effect did it have on our society? Well, I looked it up. According to the Washington Post and ABC, in August of 2017, the year that it happened and the month that it happened, 42% said that Trump was putting neo-Nazis and white supremacists on equal standing, with opponents just 9%. They even found neo-Nazi views acceptable to some degree. 9%, they said. In a Pew Research poll from August 15th to the 21st of the same year, broad disapproval of Trump's conduct spiked it, fed it to a Gallup low of 34% approval at the time. A public policy poll in August of 2017, Trump's overall approving held steady. Only 11% of Americans thought white supremacists or neo-Nazis could be very fine people. Only 11%, but it was in every poll. Rasmussen later cited in 2020 context that 39% of likely voters still bought the hoax. 39% still bought the hoax. These polls were everywhere. They used it as a cudgel. They know what he said, and everyone could figure it out. But they profited from it. And so did the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is why this lawsuit means so much. You were duped. You were gaslit. And I don't want to hear this nonsense about Reese. That was 2017. No. Let me put this in a context a lot of you people on the left can understand. How long ago was the Emancipation Proclamation? How long ago was slavery? How long ago was the Civil Rights Movement? How long ago was the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? How long ago was Jim Crow? If you are still allowed to treat those things as if they happened yesterday, 2017 should be a cakewalk for you. 2017 should sit right on your hip. I'm talking 60 years. I'm talking 100 years in some cases with some of the things that I've mentioned. You have treated them like they must be addressed today. And you think, after promoting that nonsense, after it was bought and paid for? And we're not talking about just one group. We're talking about a hell of a lot of groups that the Southern Poverty Law Center was profiting from and then promoting. Hey, go out there and spread more hate. Which proves one thing to me, and I know it's proving to the rest of you, that if we have to manufacture it, what does it mean about its reality? We're not letting this one go. None of you should. None of you should. When some bozo comes to you and says, well, it's racist out there. Yep, bought and paid for. You're going to say that it isn't a racist country? Well, it's got a price tag. Apparently, racism can be bought. Isn't that wild? It's so crazy to tell you exactly who these people are. Let's forget about the Southern Poverty Law Center for a second. Let's really dig deep into the Klan or white supremacist groups. Think about this. Talk about the teeth of these organizations, right? These people who hate everybody, the Jews, the blacks, the women, whatever the case may be, right? A bunch of hate groups. Think about the authenticity of these organizations, that the group that is funded to eliminate them could come to them and say, hey, got a check for you. And those white nationalist hate mongers said, how much? What do you want us to do? How bizarre. How ironic. How do you not look at all of that and say, damn, we're a bunch of rubes. We've been duped. No one can profit off of this anymore. That's over. That's over. And I've been talking about this forever. That it's all a joke. It's a clown show. It wasn't until, and I want to thank, I'm applauding everybody here on WTIC, the listeners here. Want to talk about, I'll go from everybody, from Simsbury Joe to Paula to sometime Kim in Northern Connecticut. The people who came here on this network and said out loud to me some of what many of you considered the most outlandish things in the world, right? That many of you said, come on. Those people gave me permission to consider the wildest conspiracies. And they all deserve an applause. You should be patting them on the back. And this isn't one of those things where, a broken clock is right, twice a day. Come on. These guys are hitting it out the park regularly. If they were baseball players, they'd be Hall of Famers based on, come on. Nobody bats 1,000. But if I'm looking at these guys' record, hey, they've got a percentage of at least 300 to 400. I would have never considered half of this stuff if not for them. I was teetering, but these guys definitely pushed me over the conspiracy ledge. And they were right. And I trusted in them. And it was a good call. And here we are. We got to take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. And I got to give a shout out to the Connecticut Sentinel when we return. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. It appears Sam the Man, I don't know whether or not your feed, I've gone to your feed and the volume is on. Michael S., who says, have someone explain to me how to turn on the sound if you need to hear what this Uncle Tom here has to say. Uncle Tom was a hero. I find it amazing that most racist, bigots, and frauds do not read history or do not read at all. Calling me an Uncle Tom is not an insult because I know who Uncle Tom is and read the book. So work on that. And it shows that public education is horrible because if public education served you in any good way, you'd know that about Uncle Tom. The word you're looking for is Quimbo. Again, read the book. So you can't offend me with that. And thank you for listening. That's always that I appreciate. Please. Yes, turn the volume up and stick around. Okay? We appreciate you. I want to give a shout out. And I've got so much more to get into. Ryan Fazio is going to join us at about 4 o'clock. We'll get to that as well. I want to give a shout out to the Connecticut Sentinel. Yesterday, we reported on their reporting. We sort of piggybacked their reporting. They got the FOIA information, the Freedom of Information Act information on how and why Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education, was canceled as a speaker at a couple of schools here in the state of Connecticut. We did show, and of course, Booker T. White, or Adam 12, as we call him, he wants to be called Booker T. He is in direct communication with Linda McMahon and her team. So when I reported on the Connecticut Sentinel story, they posted on X and they tagged Linda McMahon's office. They did not receive that. So Adam 12 sent it directly to Linda McMahon. So she has that FOIA information that you guys received. So we did it for you because I know you were trying to reach her to let her know what was going on. And they were very, very happy and they are very grateful that you got that for them. So we got it right to them. So I want to thank you guys for your reporting. And we wanted to do you a solid with all the hard work you did. You didn't have to, but we wanted to make sure that your good work did not go unnoticed. So we sent it to them. And keep posting and keep working. And Linda McMahon is, and I will admit, I don't know how you did it, but Adam 12, they love the show and they are going to come back. So we're very happy for that. And we, again, very grateful. In the next hour, I want to talk about this. This is very important when it comes to this Southern Poverty Law Center thing. Because as I told you, this was a defining moment in our history and how it was promoted and allowed to stand for 7 years without being corrected. No efforts were made by so-called legacy or legitimate media to debunk this narrative. They profited off of it. They promoted it. They repeated it. And no one has ever apologized. And I went over a list of Connecticut lawmakers. Some of them were the usual suspects, but some of them were Republicans. And I know they didn't know. I get it. But this is not me criticizing them for not knowing. But I know I'm not going to get the likes of Rosa DeLauro to say, my bad, didn't know. But the Republicans who spoke up on this, the Republicans who tried to pin this on Donald Trump and promoted the lie, or at least responded to it, you got to make good. You got to make good. Because this investigation is very important. You can say whatever you want about this Department of Justice. You can say anything you want about Todd Blanche, about Kash Patel. This is going to play out in the courts, and you damn well bet the people are watching, and they are going to watch. Check out the people over at MSBET. You know them. MSBET. We begot the news. Yes, Simone Sanders. This is what they said.
They've gone after the Southern Poverty Law Center, but not the KKK. They've gone after the people, the civil rights organizations, but not the actual extremist groups.
They just freed the Proud Boys. What do you expect them to do?
They went after the KKK. Silly, they're in cahoots. And these bozos at MSBET can't even recognize that. They paid the Klan. The Klan did the Southern Poverty Law Center's bidding. They're one and the same. But, of course, those fools don't even understand the difference. That's the way it goes. Let's take a break. Top of the news coming up. More of this when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're going over the depth of this scandal and the depth of this investigation into the Southern Poverty Law Center. And many people were calling them a hack a long, long time ago. What wouldn't get done is people suggesting, why would they call some of the most, tame places or groups hate groups? It just didn't make sense. Other than the fact that, there was a little bit of one-upman's crap that was going on. I don't like that group. So the Southern Poverty Law Center calling them a hate group is appropriate. And then not reporting it just allows it to fester. But that was dangerous. And it was dangerous after it affected certain groups who were put on that list. And they put out a map. Mind you, you might remember Gabby Giffords. Remember? She was shot at a campaign rally or some I think it was some sort of meet and greet or wherever it was. And some gunman, deranged individual ended up shooting her in the head. And they tried to pin that on Sarah Palin and targets on a map. Remember that? Well, here's the Southern Poverty Law Center with its map every year pointing out hate groups. Who do they point out? Let's go over some of the most ridiculous. In 2014, Dr. Ben Carson and an additional pro-family groups like the Ruth Institute and the Liberty Council. In October of 2014, the Southern Poverty Law Center added then neurosurgeon and future HUD Secretary Ben Carson to its extremist file for comments linking the redefinition of marriage to societal decline, echoing historic examples, and his support of traditional marriage. Around the same time, early 2014, it added groups such as the Ruth Institute, Pacific Justice Institute, and others as anti-LGBTQ hate groups for similar reasons. Ben Carson, a respected black conservative voicing mainstream Christian beliefs. He wasn't calling for harm, but the SPLC, they did it anyway. And they did get backlash for it. In 2015, they actually apologized a year later, or at least the next year, and it removed the profile and admitted it did not meet their standards. But they did it anyway. Why does that matter? Here's why. We go back in time from 2014. and we go to the Family Research Council. You might remember a guy by the name of Tony Perkins, who often appeared on Fox News. In the winter of 2010, an intelligence report, the SPLC designated the Family Research Council, which is a major Washington, D.C.-based advocacy group focused on religious liberty and family policy, and 12 similar organizations as anti-LGBTQ hate groups. The rationale was their opposition to same-sex marriage, criticism of certain LGBTQ activism, and biblical views on sexuality. They framed it as false and denigrating propaganda. This led to a man in 2012, a gunman, who cited the Southern Poverty Law Center's map as to a justification for shooting up the members of the Family Research Council. He wounded a security guard before being stopped. That is the reason why what they did was reckless. Because, again, 2 years earlier, with the Ben Carson situation, they already knew that what they were promoted violence. So putting Ben Carson on the list and then waiting until the next year to take him off, they didn't even care. This is one of those cases where people need to recognize their comments. According to this report and this indictment, the Southern Poverty Law Center secretly funneled $3 million plus, and the investigation is not over, in donor funds to violent racist extremist groups. They include the Ku Klux Klan, American Nazi Party, the Aryan Nation, United Klans of America, Unite the Right, Charlottesville, the National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, and American Front. And again, I keep telling people, look at the people who took the money from the group that was getting money to eradicate them. They were willing to take that money and do their bidding. In cahoots. What is so right-wing about that? What is so Donald Trumpian about that? What is so MAGA about that? Who here believes on the left, if you are a Democrat, a leftist, a radical for the, Democrat Party or progressives or communists or socialists, which one of you believes that MAGA Republicans or just MAGA folks who you call brainwashed cultists would take a dime from the Southern Poverty Law Center to promote bigotry, racism, and violence at their behest? Who believes that? That runs straight in the face of everything you believe, and you know it. And the fact that it had to be paid for is a clear example that everything you've been reading, everything you've been hearing is nonsense. Nonsense. Your greatest example, that thing that you held up high, with the exception of January 6th, and I can't wait till that information comes out. But with the exception of January 6th, Charlottesville, it was everything. It was. Don't take my word for it, folks. I don't want you to look at me to find out if that was the most important thing of our time. I'll take 2 presidential campaigns to prove it.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate.
I ran for president in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging from their necks, carrying Nazi swastikas, and chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s.
Brought to you by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Check us out at our website. That's what it was, folks. That's what it was. Veins bulging out of their necks. Brought to you by Southern Poverty Law Center. Racism. On demand. Why not? Why not? I'm waiting for the Babylon Bee to go nuts on this. You couldn't write a better parody script. This invites parody. How does it not? And I know what you folks are saying. Are you trying to say that racism don't exist, Reese? Yes, I am saying that racism exists. In fact, I'm saying you can pay for a lot. Apparently, it's for sale. I mean, think about that. These are groups. Hear me out. Just hear me out. These are groups who I would like to believe would spread their bile, Joe Biden's word, for free. Or at least fund themselves, some shadow company, funnel them with money, so they can go out there and rally, scream and holler at the Jews. You would think they have a funding apparatus for that. Like, you would think that these groups were making so much money, hand over fist, because of all the racism out there, right? Donald Trump giving them license to be all racist and whatnot, because that's what we were told, right? It's much more prominent now. That when the Southern Poverty Law Center comes up and says, we're going to give you this one group, Unite the Right, we're going to give you $270,000 over 8 years. Not in one lump sum. It's a payment plan. Racism on layaway. I'm sorry. Anyway, get myself together. This is not funny. Oh, hell yes, it is. These people would normally do it for free. Right? Their organizations, they got a website. They make music. They got rock bands. Have you seen these groups? I have. I got to do research. It sucks. I don't like having it on my search engine. Like, I got to record myself. This is for research, please. FBI, do not flag me. But yeah, you got it. I mean, I'm just saying. These people, I would think, I was under the impression these people are quite funded. And they took scraps, folks, from the Southern Poverty Law Center and did their bidding. And they kept getting paid. And other organizations kept getting paid. And they were getting paid from the opposition side. Think about that. The Southern Poverty Law Center that supports LGBTQ rights, gay marriage, they support mutilating children, gay porn books in schools, everything that these organizations stand against. And you know they do. Remember, they're right-wing Republican groups. That's what you keep trying to tell us. The Klan, American Nazi Party, Aryan Nation. Come on, Aryan Nation, you think that these folks, with all of the fundamentalism of that group, the pure white essence of who they are, that they were saying, hey, Bob, listen, we got a funding opportunity here. Well, who's going to give us some money? Looks here like the Southern Poverty Law Center. I ain't never heard of them. Hey, get on the interwebs and find out who they are. Hey, it says that they support LGBTQ. Oh, that's that gay stuff, right? Okay, they support transgenderism and same-sex marriage, and they promote equality for the blacks and other groups. Oh, and they're anti-Christian, too. Says here they're pro-Muslim. How much they giving us? We're supposed to believe this. That's what happened. Shame on you. Come on, I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Shame on you. All of this time, we were led to believe these groups were Puritans, Christian nationalist Puritans. No, I'm sorry. You can't be a part of our group. You got 2% Guatemalan in you. Came in your blood test. You're 23andMe. No, sorry. You can't be a part of it. But took checks from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Come on. You got to look at this and go, and I know it. I know you so well. Those of you on the left, you're sitting there and I know you're laughing too. And you're going, yeah, I'm not going to lie. It writes itself. That the racism that we were led to believe, right? We have been told by every group in the world that it is all over the place. You can smell it. It's so deep. That leftist organizations were taking millions of dollars and funneling it to the groups they're supposed to destroy and bring attention to. And they were in cahoots. And I've got to look at this in a way that, I mean, if you're listening to me and you are secretly in the Klan, there's a part of you going, hey, is this true? Hey, wait a minute. Is this real? We're taking money from Southern Poverty Law Center? Are you saying that we went to the rally yesterday? It was funded by gay groups? No, I can't be a part of this. I hand in my resignation right now. No, take my hood. I don't want it. I won't even wear white after Labor Day after this. I'm done. I don't know what happened to this place. Used to be a day when we used to hate on everybody. If it wasn't pure and white. Now we're just taking money for everybody. Has funding gotten that bad? Fundraising gotten that bad? We just had a bake sale. We had Klan cookies and everything. We ain't sell none. I'm sorry. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Everything about this should embarrass them. You people on the left should be embarrassed. You can't run this game anymore. I told you that day was coming. Because you overplayed your hand. You did it over and over and over again. Yeah, have another No Kings rally. Have them all. We are going to show up. And we are going to laugh. We are going to show up. Yet everything about you is toothless now. Everything about you. The Southern Poverty Law Center. You know who your president should be, right? Get a new president. I nominate Jussie Smollett. Absolutely. I think that's your new leader. That's all. Klan cookies with white chocolate chips. Yeah, that's right. Rama said, bringing it back to Star Wars, it's like the Galactic Empire funded by the rebellion. That's exactly what it is. That's what it is. Let me go to Ken. He's in the car. Hello, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing great, Reese. How you doing today?
I'm all right. Did you like my Klan impersonation?
I did so much, and this is the reason I called in. You got to go to open mic night somewhere, dude. You really do.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. It's been a long time since I did anything like that. But I'm sorry. This just writes itself. This material is better than anything I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It does.
It's so, like, what? I just ask you this. Does it make you feel in some way like you have been, even though you didn't really believe it, does it make you feel a little bit duped that we had to defend this for so long? We're talking 2017 we had to fight against this under that sort of umbrella or this idea that was the one thing we could not sort of dispute, that what happened there was real. And now to know this is fake, that you can't help but feel a little, like, angry. I'm kind of outraged.
Yeah, you're right. As funny as it is, you're right.
I don't even know who to blame. I feel like I blame everybody.
Hey, why not?
Thank you.
If it works.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Ken, thank you so much. And you know what? I can't do an open. Well, maybe I will. Maybe when we do our comedy bit, maybe I'll actually go on stage and do a set, if you will.
Yeah, you got to do it at least once.
You got it. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate
you.
All
right, brother. You have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Yeah. By the way, when we come back, I got to go over a list of these people from Rosa DeLauro to Richard Blumenthal, those who echoed the sentiment of Charlottesville. You will not believe your ears, but you won't be surprised either. I need to go through all of that. Plus, I want to go over some of these other organizations that they were calling hate groups on their website. And what was so weird, did you hear that or even read the Southern Poverty Law Center's response to this indictment? They don't even they don't even negate this indictment. They was like, we have to do certain things for certain reasons. We pay, we've been threatened since the 1980s. They're talking about like the 1985 firebombing. That's 40 years ago. 40 years ago. I thought it was insane. Anyway, we got to take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views, and I'll take a few phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio.
Spider-Man. Hey, he's your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio. Right now on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio here. Let me grab the phones. Hey, 3-time caller this week. Rudy's in Florida. What do you got for me, sir?
3 times. I didn't call you yesterday.
You did? Okay, I'm sorry. 2-time caller this week. I'm sorry. You called so much.
What power? I think Dave Chappelle should be worried because you do a Clayton Bigsby better than him. And here's my idea. You know the Salvation Army store at Christmas?
Yeah, the holiday store.
Yeah. We should find a local bar that does open mic and do a fundraiser for Salvation Army and put you up there and do your act.
Wait, but did you find that funny?
Yeah. What'd you say? Clan cooking?
Yeah, clan cookies, yes.
So I called you on Monday.
Yeah.
To discuss Comrade Murphy, the communist, speaking in Barcelona.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about him later, too.
And you were like, this isn't treason, you guys, blah, 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 blah. Well, he then cheerleaded the Iranian Navy against the United States. I find him disgusting.
That he is.
Connecticut needs to do something about him. I mean, I don't know if there's recall rules. We discussed it. He just got reelected in 2024.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 years left.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy's a piece of garbage.
Look, I will tell you right off the bat, listen.
I missed your show yesterday. I'm sure you talked about it.
Of course I did. But as I said yesterday, I told him, I even put out a post today and tagged him in it. I said, come on, boy, come on home. You ain't working on the world stage. And he's not. He's not working on the world stage. Going out there to Barcelona and then putting that tweet out there talking awesome about 6 people, 6 ships getting through the blockade and saying his sarcasm was misunderstood.
That wasn't sarcasm.
I know. I'm not just, listen, I am with you. Of course it wasn't. He's blaming everybody else for a joke he thinks fell flat.
Because he multiple times went to visit Zelensky and the Ayatollah in Iran. I mean, he's been in bed with Iran for a decade.
Can I go one step further? Hold on. Don't forget this one. Don't forget this one with Andrea Mitchell. I was going to play this one earlier. This is him being asked by Andrea Mitchell about the IRGC or it was in there. I forget what it was.
The Royal Guard?
Iran's Revolutionary Guard off the terror list in order to get a deal?
Yes.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard off the terror list in order to get a deal?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that was promoted yesterday.
I want all those people listening in Connecticut, especially like the communist ones you were picking on earlier, like Green Party people, which I'll probably get a tweet about. He spent more time in countries we're enemies with than in the state of Connecticut. He's been in office since 2009, Congress, and that he was in the House and then the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
He spends more time going over to Ukraine, going over to Iran, speaking at communist conventions in Barcelona.
Yep.
Like, what?
With crooks, with alleged
you know what
crooks.
I'm watching right now. The two biggest stories right now on Newsmax 2 and stuff was Virginia passing that law.
Yep.
And they're going to redistrict and try to screw us. And then Walmart, Obama, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries.
Timu.
threatened Governor DeSantis that he's going to make sure we get punished, and Corey Mills and some other guys are going to get punished if we redistrict to counteract that in Florida. We're redistricting.
Oh, it's happening.
Oh, I can't wait till we do it, because, I mean, there's only like 4 Democrats elected, and they're all in Broward County.
Listen, I'm hoping that Florida goes ape on the redistricting. I hope that they just go, hey, so you know what? Why not? We're talking about a 6-5 state that went 10-1 and didn't think it. And again, the only reason why it's a major split is because most of the population lives right in Loudoun County. Well, Fairfax County is mostly, and Loudoun County. And that was the majority of the vote, because everything south of Fredericksburg is all Trump country.
And Virginia had record turnout for GOP in this.
Yep.
But you know what the best news yesterday was?
What's that?
I don't know. Did you cover Trump and DeSantis?
I did not. You mentioned, I saw you sent a message about that.
Yeah, Trump met with DeSantis to gauge his interest in going on the Supreme Court if Alito or Clarence Thomas leaves. I don't want Clarence Thomas to leave.
Nor do I.
Because he's on target every single time. And who do they go after the most on the conservative side of the Supreme Court? Clarence Thomas.
Yep.
Why? Because Democrats are racist. He's married to a white woman.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not a Democrat, and he's black. He's a sellout like you to them.
Yes, I know.
I know. Places, and they're like, what, you're not on our side? You're black. Are you? Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Boy, don't you know you were supposed to be behaving?
Right. So I would love to see Alito retire.
Yeah, of course, we got you. Let me get another call in here. Of course, he can't. People can't help it. It's almost like having a conversation with your buddy at the bar. Let's go to Jim in Waterbury. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Reese, another fantastic show.
Thank you.
But I've always said that Conrad Murphy was a communist. I could say that as a Marine, as a Blumenthal. We need to get rid of these people. I don't know what we can do.
I think, look, this is going to sound crazy. And I know people are going to say, no, that doesn't make sense. He's a shoo-in. Why would he bother? This is the last election for Chris Murphy. It is. I'm telling you. He is going somewhere else. And in 2028, if indeed he ends up on that primary stage in any way, because I don't think he'll even poll to be on like the dais that gets like 15, 16. I don't think he'll poll high enough to that. There's a likelihood he could, but I really doubt it. But let's say he gets up on that stage. That will be all the recognition he needs to go into the private sector and get paid by the likes of Alex Soros or anyone else or any other progressive billionaire to just travel the world or start some think tank. That's his future.
He needs to be run out on a rail.
Like I said, this, and I would say, go look up the polling on this whole Iran thing. He looked so awful on this. It's 80% negative.
Yeah.
That means that even liberals, who, by the way, came out 15% in favor of him, to 80% negative on that tweet on X.
Come out and say that he's not for the Connecticut citizen, he's for the illegals.
Oh, he's far worse than that. He's progressive. He has gone so far left that, I mean, like I said, I don't even think that the Democrats see him anymore. He is in it for himself.
Tommy.
He might be, but it's for him, it's profitability and exposure, he doesn't care about this anymore. And he doesn't, because right now he'd be in Connecticut for a host of different things, like showing up at the No Kings rally in California when there were several going on here in Connecticut and every other state representative was here. That shows you exactly what he's got. He's got greener pastures, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Oh, I loved your show yesterday with the Christian people.
Oh, thank you, man. And I know, listen, that's risque.
I talked to my wife about going to Griswold. Maybe I'll get on their van.
Absolutely. Look, it's risque doing, sort of religious and history stuff like that. Some people's like, I don't know if but I thought it was important to have them on, and they're great guests. Debbie and Tom were fantastic.
Great. They're a great couple and a great show.
Indeed. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Thank you, buddy. You too. I do want to. I want to address this because it's in the text. And Bob J., who you all know, stands up for African Americans. Every breath in his body is to make sure he stands up for African Americans. I don't believe he's black, but he does. He stands for black folks. He is the vanguard of the African American. And remember what I said about it's over. Stop. Don't fall for this nonsense. Let me read his comment real quick. He said, it's funny how our room temperature IQ president is quick to call someone low IQ, especially accomplished black women. He is also quick to remove high-ranking blacks from federal posts. He also wants to eliminate black history. He also wants to return racist names to government facilities. He is also against DEI because it requires hiring a race and not qualifications. Yet the overwhelming majority of his hires have been one race with qualifications with little question. Anyway, then he removed many of the few high-ranking blacks in the federal government. He did put out a meme with the Obamas as ape. Trump is a racist. Are you kidding? No. Trump is not a racist. No. And nothing you stated there means that he is. Because you think that just because they're black, they're supposed to be smart. And you know that's not true. Because if that was the case, they'd all be brilliant. I mean, if they're all so smart, every single one of them, why do they do stupid things? Like kill their own and sell them drugs and continue to destroy their communities? How do 48 million of them, a large percentage of them, can't find a way to get out of poverty? They're so brilliant and high IQ. Yeah. And if that hurts you, when we come back, we'll get you a subscription of Kleenex. It's Reese on the Radio. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, coming up, stupidest thing I read today. Ryan Fazio joins us at the top of the hour. We'll talk to him about something. He asked to be a guest on the show. I can ask him a slew of things. But about the campaign, of course, you know that we have a debate coming up on May 7th at the ballroom at Stadium 15. That's at 7 p.m. Until 8:30 p.m. Myself, Brian Shackman, and Morgan Cunningham will be your moderators. Candidates vying for the gubernatorial race will be there in attendance to answer questions by the three of us. Again, broadcast live. You have a chance to be in the audience as well. To do that, you got to go to WTIC.com. That's WTIC.com. Go to more, then contests, and fill out the form. And you and 59 other guests will get an opportunity to sit in the live audience and quite possibly meet the candidates, talk to them, and feel them out if you are undecided. Also, you can eat at Stadium 15 beforehand. So the debate's at 7. Maybe you can eat dinner at the restaurant at 6 p.m. So I'll be there. Roseanne will be there. You'll be there. Okay? And we'll also, do we have to announce it today, or can we have to announce it tomorrow? I don't know if we should do it now. Should we do it tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, tomorrow and Friday, we're going to do giveaways. That's right. We're going to give away tickets. Myself and Brian Shackman are going to give one away tomorrow and Friday. So A pair. Oh, well, it is a pair, technically. Yes, a pair of tickets tomorrow and Friday, and then next week we'll do it some more. So we begin that contest starting tomorrow. So it'll be at any time during the day. We'll let you know for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the 11th Commandment GOP gubernatorial debate at Stadium 15's Ballroom on May 7th at 7 p.m. Brought to you by AARP Connecticut, our proud sponsor. I understand there's some other people that are in line to join us on that as well. So we're going to see that. And there'll be some other special guests there because I'm getting all of these comments like, can I go? I want to go, Reese. I'm like, well, you got to enter the win. But can I just be your guest? And I'm like, well, my wife is my guest. I'm like, but can I be your +1? I'm like, I have a +1. So that's where you got to win, or you got to call in to win, and that starts tomorrow. So stand by for that. When we return, again, Ryan Fazio, I'm going to confirm to make sure that he is calling in because I know he is in session today. We'll talk to him a little bit about that and, of course, some stuff he wants to talk about as well. I hear there's a little bit of some simmering going on, and I don't want to predict that that's what he's going to talk about, but I have a feeling he is. So we wait. Bated breath. Also, John Solomon of Just the News, talk about other frauds. Another big storm is coming. And some people can talk that nonsense about, oh, it's old news. No. No. This is not old news. This is very important. And it looks like the Save America Act will definitely get pushed forward because of it. We'll tell you about it when we return. Let's get our first check of traffic and weather. Our good friend Mark Christopher is here. He is getting you home. All right, in the next 2 hours, Reese on the radio, we have Ryan Fazio. I'm reaching out to him to find out where the heck he is. He should be calling in by now. Reached out to him, but they are on the floor, so there's quite a likelihood that he may have to push it back. But, they called me and asked him for him to be on. We'll see. I just sent his people a text message to find out if he is still okay. If he doesn't come back, that's fine. I heard John Silver talking about voter fraud, and I think Matt Blumenthal sound bites as well as Vince Candelara in the sound bites talking about voter fraud. It's no voting is perfect. Don't worry. We got you, Matt. We got you. We definitely got you, buddy, on that one. In fact, speaking of Bridgeport, we got another case in Bridgeport. Nothing is sacred, folks. Nothing is sacred when it comes to voter fraud. Wild story coming out of Bridgeport. This one will blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. We'll talk about that as well. What else do I've got? Oh, Southern Poverty Law Center. I'm not done with them. Even Connecticut is affected by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Yeah, it looks like they've got curriculum. Yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center's got curriculum. And did you know Connecticut public schools, they're always reaching out to those progressive groups for their curriculum. Wait till you hear what Connecticut schools are jumping on. Thank you, Connecticut Sentinel, again. Doing the reporting mainstream media won't do. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, let's get to it. Look at that. There he is. He showed up. I was worried that you weren't going to be here. What's the deal? Ryan Fazio joins us on the program. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, Reese. I was just actually on the Senate floor.
I thought you were.
And I think if you were watching the public access TV, you could see me running off the Senate floor.
Thank you
not because I need to get out of there so bad, because I needed to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for considering us. And now I'm going to go look it up, and I'm going to post it, and I'm going to say, there's Ryan Fazio running to me. Anyway, no, I appreciate you, buddy. So I know we got the debate coming up on May 7th. Thank you for that. I know that you're going – the reason why we had to change it, unfortunately, was because you guys found out that you're going to be in session on the April 30th date that we originally had scheduled, so we moved it to the 7th. Which works out for you, and we're very happy to get that done for you, because I was a little bit worried that we weren't going to be able to make it, but we did. there were some other things that people wanted to talk about, and I'll get to that in due course. But your team contacted me because you wanted to talk about something, or at least convey to my audience. What was that exactly?
Well, I think debates are a good thing for our candidates, not because it's about one person going against another, but because it's an opportunity for all candidates to stand on an equal footing, without cue cards, without teleprompters, and answer questions about what they believe, what their priorities would be as governor, what they will do to achieve them, and what their record is, and to answer questions, on their own, all on the same stage. And guess what? We as Republicans need to nominate someone who's going to be able to do that against Governor Lamont, who's been in office for 8 years and knows the policies and is pretty smooth. And we're going to need to have a candidate who can go against him on a debate stage and prosecute the case against his failures as governor, as well as be able to stand at press conferences every single week, not only as the general election candidate, but over the course of 8 years as governor, and justify our policies as Republicans that are necessary to make the state more affordable, more safe, and protect common sense and personal freedoms. So it's actually part, I think, of the job interview process for Republican primary voters, which is why we've been calling for debates with all three candidates before the convention and primary. I'm glad that Betsy McCoy and I are doing the first debate with you on May 7th, but I hope that Erin Stewart and her campaign accepts debates before the convention and before the primary for the benefit of voters, too.
Yeah, and the reason why, interestingly enough, because there was a memo that was sent out by the Connecticut GOP immediately as I announced that we wanted to do a debate. And I said, you know what, we should do an 11th Commandment debate so that, one, we don't have any infighting, two, we show ourselves as a united conservative party, but we get out to the voters an opportunity for them to see us unified, that we can all have different ideas or similar ideas or ideas that are similar but different angles or different approaches, that the audience, that the Republicans or conservatives or even Democrats for that matter can hear to say, okay, I like what Ryan's doing here. I like what Erin's doing here. I like what Betsy's doing there. To make a decision for themselves in hearing that without all the, well, this guy's a bum and this guy's a horrible, like, we don't have to hear that. We get to hear that message in a cohesive way about conservatism and our policy plans for the next, what do you say, 8 years? Well, I don't know. But the bottom line is I'm hoping it's 8. But what the plan is going forward with a conservative or Republican governor. And you've been fighting for that. You've been asking for that. I know that there's been a rift here on Erin Stewart saying that they haven't committed to this. And there has been this back and forth going on. So I'm hoping that there is. I'm hoping there's a change of heart on their end because people are asking for it, and I've heard them ask for it. But do you think there's a possibility that this can happen? And do you think that there needs to be either a pressure campaign, or do you just want to go as planned?
Well, I think that voters are going to want it. I think, the pressure probably will be provided by Republican voters on the Stewart campaign organically because they want to hear from their candidates in a kind of, free-flowing, no notes, no teleprompter, no cue card style of event. And it's not, as you say, it's an 11th commandment. It's about substance. Listen, if Betsy said, Ryan's policy for a property tax cap is the rate of inflation, and I think it should be 2%. And she could say, I think that's not the right way to do it. I think my way is the right way to do it. I think that's fine. I think that's on the up and up,
absolutely reasonable.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's substance. And people want to hear substance, and they want to hear the candidates explain where they stand, why they stand there, what they've done, what their record is, and justify that and why they should be the leader of the party. I don't think this is, this isn't JV. This is varsity. And we should be able to expect that our candidates do that. So I think the public wants it. I think primary voters want it. I think the primary supporters of all three candidates actually probably want to see it, whether they say it publicly or not. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be good for the party and it'll be good for the candidates and the campaigns, because if you're not ready to have that conversation, without the teleprompter, without the cue cards, again, with the other candidates of your own party, how are you going to stand next to Governor Lamont and make the case against him?
Yeah, because that debate's got to happen. It is going to happen without a doubt. And you kind of don't want to be caught flat-footed, not prepared or ready to go, because just not having sort of that muscle memory or that sort of opportunity to create the muscle to debate that main stage, so to speak. If you don't do all the prep work ahead of time doing that or being on that stage and sort of getting ready, it could hurt you in the future. Why not? Let me ask you this, Ryan. Is it possible that it would be better off for you to just leave the subject alone and let the people decide to say, or just see in the result, you guys and you and Betsy showing up at these debates, she doesn't show up, and then that, does what it naturally does to the electorate? Why not just leave it alone?
Well, listen, I think most people, they want to hear from their candidates. And, I'm a primary voter just like everyone else. And, I'll say what my preference is. I might have a little bigger microphone, but, if the voters don't want it and if the Stewart campaign doesn't want it, then they can just say that. And that, if they clearly say no to this, then, then voters actually don't want to see their candidates debate, then that's fine, and that's their opinion, and I'll be wrong. I'll be in the minority on that. But I think having these the clear disposition of the different candidates and different campaigns is totally okay, and it's totally normal. I think debates are good. Yeah. Maybe some of my competitors don't. Betsy does. And I think having, a reasonable explanation publicly for why that is something that voters would want and expect.
Indeed. We're on the phone with Ryan Fazio, the gubernatorial candidate for governor. Well, that's redundant. Anyway, my other question to you on this front is, you had a debate or a town hall, as it were. I'm not going. I couldn't call him. My radio colleague Lee Elsey, I think, hosted one where it was sort of a town hall forum where you guys took questions from the audience. I listened to that live. The three of you were there. That seemed to go off without a hitch. Do you think something changed? Because she was present for that. For me, I'm just not understanding why the change of heart on her campaign.
I'm not sure, and that was even a lighter touch. That wasn't even a debate. But right. Listen, I can't speak to what's in Erin Stewart or her campaign's heart or mind. I'll just speak for myself. I think these are good opportunities for our candidates. For instance, WFSB is a TV station that offered to host a pre-convention debate with all three candidates.
Right.
That is an opportunity for all of us as Republicans to get free media on the television for the entire state to see that we wouldn't otherwise have, to explain why we need a change in leadership from Governor Lamont. If all three candidates do not accept that invitation, then the TV station, WFSB, is not going to host a debate with the Republican candidates, which means that there is an hour and a half that we are going to be foregoing as Republicans, which is a free opportunity for us to disseminate our message to the public, which I believe wants an alternative message and a message for change. So it is a disservice to the Republican Party and Republican voters as a whole to decline that invitation of WFSB to have a televised pre-convention debate with all three candidates. It means that there is zero television time for Republicans to articulate why we need a change from Governor Lamont, as opposed to having that opportunity for all three of us explaining why there needs to be a change in leadership. So it is a disservice to the entire Republican Party and our cause to not accept an opportunity like that.
What is it looking like out there in general as far as getting the Republican viewpoint to unseat Lamont looking like for you in your campaign? And I'm asking that question based upon what you just described with not having the opportunity to do WFSB. Is it making it difficult, or do you just have to game plan around that idea or the change of that idea?
Listen, we would rather be able to be on TV as Republicans articulating the case for change. But you know what? I'm going to work hard and go everywhere and talk to everyone and have every opportunity that I can attain in order to deliver our message of a positive change for the state. There is no acceptable reason that we should have the third highest taxes, the second highest electric bills, and the fourth weakest economy in the country, except for the failed leadership of one-party rule under the Democrats and Governor Lamont for the last 8 years. And we should expect nothing but the best as Connecticut residents, which is why I think our message on my campaign of the largest middle-class tax cut in history, of capping property taxes, and of cutting electric rates by 20% while also supporting our law enforcement and ending sanctuary state status. I believe that message is resonating. It is clear, it is simple, and it prosecutes the case against the Democrats' failure as well as presenting a positive alternative, a clear positive alternative that will make the lives of our neighbors and our friends better in this state. There is no substitute for hard work, and I don't think there's any better way to campaign than talking about the issues and talking about how we will fight to improve the lives of everyday Connecticut residents. So that's why I think our campaign is building momentum. That's why I think our supporters are energized. But we have to fight and work harder than anybody else, any other candidate or campaign has ever worked in Connecticut over the next 7 months in order to bring this home and deliver victory and change in the state.
Ryan Fazio, candidate for governor right here in this great state of Connecticut. Senator, good luck in the session. I know that we're getting a butt kicked on. Vaccine mandates and homeschooling bills and all that. By the way, I hear they changed that around a little bit to I guess to get more of their members. Looks like some Democrats were not really happy with the original writing of that legislation of homeschooling. Go figure.
That's right, and we're seeing even some moderate Democrats, just a few of them, but nonetheless defect from their party. That's how radical Governor Lamont and the Democratic leadership has gotten. Common sense, middle-of-the-road people are even saying, even some Democrats are saying, this is too much, we cannot keep doing this, and that's where I think we have an opportunity.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating session. There are going to be a lot of upset people at the end of the day. I know they're already upset about the vaccine mandate because I hope that there is a revolt. I'm not talking about anything like, Boston Tea Party, but revolt in the sense of, I don't care what you mandate, we're not getting that shot. You know what I mean? I think that's what needs to happen for them to rethink this.
Everyone from Thomas Jefferson to Malcolm X said we do our revolutions now at the ballot box. Let's do them at the ballot box, and that's where the true revolution for the good in Connecticut will happen.
Yeah, exactly right. Can't wait to see you on May 7th, Senator. So thank you so much for calling in, and hopefully maybe this plea will get her campaign to reconsider, but we'll find out on the 7th. Invitation's
still
open.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Thanks, Reese.
You got it, sir. Have a good one. Ryan Fazio, everybody. Look, we'll see. It's possible. It's possible. I've looked up polling. There doesn't appear to be any real polling, but, as I like to say on this program, that media will often shift performance. It sounds crazy in politics, but it does. It's like when the media starts writing those articles, so to speak, then everybody's like, it's all over the place. Then they believe there's sort of sentiment that follows that, and then people go, okay, the word is out, and we need to redirect. That's kind of how it works. So until that happens, it may just be the way that it is. But you know what? He's asking for it, and I think he did it respectfully. I thought it was going to be much more. I thought it was going to be hotter than that. But Ryan is a respectable guy. He doesn't come off as a, sort of a haymaker thrower. What did Jason write? Says, no, I can't read that. That's mean. I can't read that. I will read Jasmine said. What Jasmine said was Democrats want to dismantle parental rights from this state. They want to get rid of freedom. Couldn't agree more. I'm 100% with you on that. We have got to get another check of weather and traffic, and then when we come back, more news and more views. I want to talk about this Bridgeport voting scandal. Yeah. No, it's a different one. We'll get to that. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, buddy.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
All right, let's do the thing.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I read today, folks, everybody is an identity thief. Everybody. I don't care who it is. Everybody is an identity thief. I know it's not you, but it might be you. You got to be careful out there. This story comes out of Indiana. Erica Brown of Anderson, Indiana, went to renew her driver's license, only to have the Bureau of Motor Vehicles facial recognition software flag her as potential fraud. That's right. The Anderson, Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles has facial recognition software in its cameras. It gave a red flag as potential fraud. An investigator stepped in. He showed her a side-by-side photo of her license and another Indiana woman's driver's license of the same age living nearby with a different name and address, but a photocopy of her face. The resemblance was so uncanny that Brown, an only child with no known lookalikes in her family, called it, quote, very strange and bizarre. No, dear, that's fraud. Somebody is using your ID. They said a mix-up delayed her new license for 3 full months until everything cleared up. Brown has taken to TikTok, posting daily updates in her public hunt for this mysterious double wandering around about the genetic odds of the two ever meeting, but apparently it is in her same town. She just put up and you can follow her, actually. It says here it is Danielle _in_the_wild. Danielle in the wild is her TikTok handle, and she's posting daily updates as she's trying to find the woman who fraudulently took her identification. Facial recognition software at the DMV. When you go to take your photo. Fraud detecting. It writes itself, folks. Think about this. Think about it. But what's going through your head right now? Huh? I'll explain in my next story about voter fraud. Yes, that's right. Yeah, they could fight all of this insanity. We got so much to get to when we return. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. For those of you getting out early, must be nice. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, buddy.
I mean,
What? Oh, okay. Well, he's with somebody else. He's got to do traffic for everybody. He's coming. He'll be here shortly.
I'm here. I'm
there
sorry.
He is. Hey, no, it's okay, buddy.
We're talking about Drake's new album that's coming out.
Oh, Drake's got a new something called the Iceman, right?
Iceman's coming out on May 15th.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Get ready for
I'm
that.
going to do what I should do with a Drake album. Give it the cold shoulder.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, not a Drake fan.
Yeah, you either like Drake or you hate him. There's like these two big rivals.
Yeah, there's no middle ground.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
And we're back. It's Reese on the radio. I forgot I had that thing up. There we go. Don't forget, you can always check out Reese on the radio at WTIC.com to check out the show after the show, or you can go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can watch the show live there and send us notes, comments about the show, maybe a story you are interested in. I try to get to all of them. It is not always easy. I am a one-man band, so if I don't get to you, please forgive me. I will get to you in due course. I try very hard to do that. It just takes a minute. because I have so much stuff on my plate. I just do. And I'm not complaining. I love what I do, and I love that I got to juggle it all. Let me see. Mike Ortiz coming in tomorrow. He'll be sitting across from me mañana. He is a local journalist. He got some heat not too long ago from some local papers. I'll talk to him about that as well. But I like what he's doing because he's out there. He's covering the stories that you don't get, and that's important in this atmosphere when it comes to the news. So we'll talk to him about his journey and getting the news out to you. Like, it's an unforgiving job and career to actually take up on your own. Mark in West Hartford will tell you. There's no love in that, in this business, and I'm so used to it. I was listening the last news break, not this last one, the one before that, and John Silva was playing audio from Vincent Candelora and Matt Blumenthal about voter fraud. And Matt Blumenthal said that, no election is perfect, but this voter fraud as it is no consequence. It's no big deal. And I've got to ask the question, if it's no big deal, why do it? Right? If it's no big deal, why do it at all? Knowing the consequences of the fraud. It doesn't affect anything, right? It's of no real consequence in any way. So why do it? It's not going to affect, and if you listen to Matt Blumenthal and many others, it doesn't affect the outcome of an election, they tell us. Then why do it at all? They do it. It's everywhere. And here we are back in Bridgeport. Let me see. Is this the one? No. I apologize. Here it is. Had the wrong story in front of me. Bridgeport probate judge candidate Mark Bradley is facing serious questions about whether he broke election laws in 2 states. Public records show that Democrat hopeful has been registered and voting as a Democrat right in Bridgeport, while simultaneously registered and voting as a Republican in Massachusetts. One person, one vote, they say? Well, not according to the documents. And according to the publication Only in Bridgeport, they have the receipts. Attorney Mark Bradley announced his challenge to 27-year incumbent probate judge Paul Ganim just weeks ago. He's positioning himself as an honest, hardworking alternative, son of immigrants, children's rights advocate, a man of the people. Well, if that sounds familiar, that's because his brother, Dennis Bradley's slogan was used the last time he ran. And he's the former state senator who was just convicted of 6 federal counts of wire fraud tied to his 2018 campaign. Dennis ended up losing his seat in 2022 after that mess. Here's what the voter rolls and the court records show. Since 2018, Mark Bradley has voted multiple times in Bridgeport, including the Democratic primary and the general election, where he supported his brother. At the same time, he was registered in Massachusetts as a Republican and cast ballots there in 2019 and 2022's general elections. That's right. 8 straight years of dual voter registration across state lines. He used his family's law office in Fairfield Avenue in Bridgeport and his voting address, but court documents say he personally signed in March of 2023 lists his address at 671 River Street in Massachusetts. That's the same address he used for Massachusetts voting registration. His kids attend school there. He's enrolled in Massachusetts healthcare program. He only recently registered a vehicle in Bridgeport, right around the time he announced his candidacy, apparently to avoid city car taxes until now. Yeah. He also lists Clinton Avenue property as his new registration for that new registration. So if it's of no consequence, Matt Blumenthal, why do they do it at all? It doesn't affect anything. There's no reason to, right? But they do it. It's 1, 2, maybe 12. It's just a couple of votes. Good. I suggest that we raise, I think, look, if you want to rid voter fraud, even the slightest, we have to punish it. We have to punish it like the Dickens. That's what I believe. You don't want to do the whole, Save America Act? Fine. Let's really punish the people who make these elections questionable. Why not? Shouldn't that be what we do? But they're not. But just to make matters worse, I want to share this with you. Here is, I'd like to say, one of my favorite reporters, John Solomon of Just the News.
Today I have a news story out that tells us that perfect election in 2020, remember the one that Chris Krebs said was the most secure in American history?
Christopher Krebs, who was the country's top cybersecurity official on Election Day, told a Senate panel this presidential election was the most secure in U.S. history.
The 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history.
And my question is, if it was the most secure election in U.S. history, then we have something to base that on. So which was the second most secure election? The third, even. Hell, which election was the least secure? I credit Rush Limbaugh for that. I love when he brought that up. That's such a great point.
Wasn't. And in fact, we knew going in, the United States intelligence agencies knew going in it wouldn't be the most secure election in American history. We now have confirmed that both Iran and China hacked into voter registration databases and used that data for malinfluence measures, and other things in the 2020 election. But today's story is very important. It shows that in the beginning of the 2020 election season, while a lot of people were babbling we had a great secure system, the intelligence community assessed unanimously that our election systems were highly vulnerable to foreign penetration. Voting machines less likely in the present, more likely in the future, but the voter registration databases, which, by the way, just a few months later got hacked by Iran and China, were assessed to be extraordinarily vulnerable. And then the intelligence committee said what would likely happen if those voter databases were breached.
Now, you might be asking yourself, listening, especially those on the left, they're going, but wait a minute. This was around the 2020 election, but Donald Trump was in office. Yeah, he was. And it turns out that he was asking for, at least we presume, was asking for this information to be put out in the public. And that was stifled. We'll get to that later.
Foreign powers like China and Iran might try to vote in the election on behalf of other peoples. What do we know now happened? We know the FBI intercepted tens of thousands of fake driver's licenses that were supposed to come in to get ballots for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. So one of the things that is very important for those senators who might be sitting there right now thinking, we don't really have an election security problem, read the documents we've put out in the last 4 weeks. And these are not the most explosive documents to come out from the DNI. I believe Tulsi Gabbard will reveal sometime in May, early June, that there were 18 states that had their voter registration databases breached by China in some form, on top of the one that Iran did. That is a national alarm, and it's been kept a secret for 6 years. When it happened in Great Britain went into great alarm in 2024. There were recriminations and reforms. I think that moment in May, when each state gets notified, hey, your voter data was compromised by China and it was used in this way, that could be an awakening moment and perhaps change the debate in the Senate. Otherwise, I think John Thune's grand old procrastinator party, the GOP, grand old procrastinators, probably won't get the bill done.
Do you know who told you all of that before John Solomon reported on it, before he put those documents online? Who were the people who were warning you about that? Come on, you all know. People called them crazy, insane, liars, peddling conspiracy theory. Can we give it up for John Flynn and Linda Sinkowitz? Can we do that? Can we do that? That's right. John Flynn said it on his own podcast, and Linda Sinkowitz said it right here on this one. She says it on her own show. Bottom line, irrefutable evidence. It's plain to sight. That's the reason why nobody's paying attention to it, right? Because you could debunk it. Think about it. You have more people in the world who flew to Springfield, Ohio, to find out if Haitians were eating the cats and eating the dogs than those who are looking up John Solomon's report or the DNI report by Tulsi Gabbard to find out what she has revealed is true. Think about that. They sent teams to Springfield, Ohio, walking around talking to Haitians. Hey, did you eat that cat? Did you eat that dog? That's some furry stuff right there on your mustache. What's that? Yes! You know it. I've got the supercuts. Don't make me play them. You know I will. You know I will. There were more people, more efforts put into, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, in editing and splicing. Find people on both sides. Nonsense. The more effort was put into splicing that together than there were in voter integrity. The thing they tell us is non-existent. The thing they told us was a nothing burger. The courts said that there was nothing there. They wouldn't even take the case. Remember, the courts were so legitimate in not taking the case. Come on, Matt Blumenthal. The court said, nah, the election was the most secure. Trust the courts. Trust the courts. Well, we got an indictment for the Southern Poverty Law Center. We trust in the court still. Huh? We now got the DNI getting an indictment. Huh? We got the DNI getting, the FBI, I should say, getting a search warrant to go into Atlanta to investigate the 2020 election. The courts did that too. I thought we were trusting the courts. People ran down. Now, don't forget, Tulsi Gabbard released this report. No one scouring her office to go through over these documents, to even say, even find the flaws. Well, they say it says this, but here's what it really says, right? It's always doubting the administration, right? It's always undercutting their message. Yeah, they say it's this, but the evidence that they presented appears flawed. And here, not a word. Not a word. Huh? How are they treating the war in Iran? Huh? They believe in everything that the enemy tells them. They're on television. Iranian officials are saying, well, that's not true. They are not winning the war. Their stockpile is still intact. I mean, they're literally doing a Baghdad Bob on the rest of us. Investigating that. They're doing everything. I'm standing live in Iran as we speak. Yeah. Doing everything to debunk the administration. Voter integrity? Hey, you going to send somebody down there? For what? To debunk the voter integrity thing. Nah, we got nothing there. Again, pay very close attention to the stuff pinpoint, laser focused in debunking. And then this, nothing. They're not even calling it a conspiracy. They won't even talk about it. You know, I've said on this show, and I've tried to fashion this show to explain to you, pay the most attention to what they don't say. Pay attention to that more than what they do. It's easy to dissect what they do. Why? Because everything that comes out of their mouth is a lie anyway. That's easy to decipher. But the reason why they say nothing is because they can't lie about it. That's the avoidance. When you can't lie about it, you say nothing. Can't spin it, folks. Leave it alone. Because that's their job. We'll be back. Music news is coming up. We'll talk a little bit more of this Southern Poverty Law Center and wrap this show up. Your comments, your calls, all coming up as well at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Mark Christopher's getting you home, for those of you getting out of the office properly, at 5 o'clock.
From politics to news to music to movies and anything above the sun and outer space and beyond, it's Reese on the radio. Damn, he's good. Only on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio here. These are sounding good. I guess you got a couple of surprises for me, it looks like. It's WTIC News Talk 1080. It's time for, my favorite thing. Music news. News. Today, we celebrate the birthdays of Machine Gun Kelly. Never heard one song. He turns 36 years old today. Daniel Johns from Silverchair, he's the front man. He turns 47. Shavo Odagian. He was born in 1974, so he turns 52. Who is Shavo Odagian? He is the bassist for System of a Down. You remember them. Actually, their first track was really, really hot. Paul Carrick turns 75. He is the blue-eyed soul voice of the group Ace. Yeah, Ace, that's what it was. And he had hits with Squeeze. You remember Ace, they had that song, How Long? How long? Anyway, whatever. He was also with Squeeze and Mike and the Mechanics. And Peter Frampton, let's give him props. The guitar legend is 76 today. There are a couple of album chart anniversaries. 41 years ago, Prince's Around the World in a Day. That was released in 1985. 37 years ago, Madonna's Like a Prayer hit number 1. 48 years ago, Bob Marley headlines the One Love Peace concert in Jamaica. 54 years ago, Deep Purple, Machine Head hits number 1. 60 years ago, the Trogs, Wild Thing. Remember that? That was 60 years ago. That was hit number 1 in the U.S. And 70 years ago, my man Elvis Presley makes his Las Vegas debut. That would be the last place he'd be. But his debut was back in 1956.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC. I have got breaking news. This breaking news, as it were, comes from our friend Deborah Stevenson. You may remember her as a guest on this program. She is fighting against this homeschooling bill that has been now revised. And many people have been asking for a focus on the Department of Children and Families. And there hasn't really been any. There's been this scapegoating of homeschooling instead of a proper sort of, I want to use the word magnifying glass because of the children who have been injured, held hostage, or killed. And according to this new press release, a significant development today for Connecticut, one that finally shines a light where it belongs on the state's troubled Department of Children and Families. The National Home Education Legal Defense, NHELD, which is run by Deborah Stevenson, just released this statement. The U.S. Department of Justice has officially accepted their formal complaint and forwarded it to the Department of Health and Human Services for further review. The docket number is 715248. This is the federal government stepping in after years of Connecticut families begging state officials to do the job they're paid to do. Here's the backstory. So for those of you who don't know, back in February, NHELD filed a complaint after another round of horrific child abuse and death cases in Waterbury and New Britain. These weren't isolated tragedies. The families had been reported to DCF repeatedly for suspected abuse and neglect. DCF got involved, and then somehow the kids were left in danger anyway. In Waterbury, one child was held captive for 20 more years after the last DCF report, until he finally set his own house on fire. In New Britain, of course, the little girl, Mimi, had DCF in her life literally from the day she was born. Her mother had already been convicted of neglect and was in jail when the baby was taken. Yet years later, the mother got custody back, and the child's body was later found stuffed in a storage bin. These children were enrolled in public school. They were never homeschooled. But that didn't stop politicians and some in the legislature from using these tragedies as the perfect excuse to push new regulations on homeschool families who had zero connection with any of it. So attorney Deborah Stevenson of NHELD puts it plainly. This has become a pattern. DCF has been failing kids on its watch since at least the 2018 Hartford starvation death. NHELD has been calling for an independent, objective investigation for DCF for years. Loud and clear, state officials, total silence. No answers, no accountability. Instead, every time another horror story hits the news, they deflect to blame homeschoolers. Homeschooling became the scapegoat so DCF could avoid real scrutiny. NHELD has been extremely disappointed by the stonewalling, but now the feds are involved. The Justice Department didn't just file the complaint away. They reviewed it and sent it over to Health and Human Services for additional consideration. That is a big deal. The press release puts it best. These children deserve justice, and no other child in the state deserves to be abused or die because DCF didn't do what it's supposed to do. This isn't about politics. It's about basic competence and protecting kids. When the very agency charged with child safety repeatedly drops the ball, sometimes with tragic results, taxpayers and parents have every right to demand answers. And when politicians try to shift blame onto responsible homeschool parents instead of fixing their own broken system, that's not leadership. That's deflection. We'll keep following the story as we always do. And we'll have Deborah Stevenson on soon on this very breaking and very important story that you know we've been covering from the start. And I want to applaud her because she put the pedal to the metal and went all the way through. She didn't they talk that big game, folks. Can't fight City Hall. You're right. You're right. Not today. And remember, these people are supposed to be held to account. And if they won't do it here, someone's got to. And here's the thing. If I may be so bold, I'm going to go backwards just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. To the Linda McMahon angle on all of this. So Linda McMahon comes to Connecticut to speak to the children about History Rocks. Nothing partisan, no politics. Just to talk to the children and to get them interested in history. Parents, PTA members, bureaucrats make that difficult for her to do, to where the event has to be canceled. And they send Linda McMahon packing. They make a public spectacle of sending her packing. And then they brag about it, forgetting she works for the federal government and the very man they know will make an example of them, Donald J. Trump. The man who will use the bully pulpit to put you on, as they say in the hood, full blast. You know it. I know it. They know it. So they disrespect a hometown girl in Linda McMahon. They give her no love. And you don't think she's going to go back and say, hey, boss, tried to go down there to go talk to the folks and the kids. They made a spectacle out of it. We had to cancel. And Donald Trump says, I got people in Connecticut. I got Trumpers in Connecticut. I got MAGA folks in Connecticut. I believe there are far more MAGA folks in the state than people are willing to admit. They sent my education secretary packing. I'm good friends with Linda McMahon. I have a personal and professional relationship with her. Oh, okay. Let's release the hounds. Oh, God bless them. That sounds like something I would do. Why not? Why not? You're not going to embarrass my cabinet official. She's bringing a spotlight to the children in your school, and you send her packing over politics. You keep claiming it's so divisive. It's so divisive. And then when she comes down there to do something that's clearly not political and you send her packing, yeah, no problem. I'm sure that when Deborah Stevenson sent that letter, they go, oh, Ain't those the people that disrespected Linda? Ain't those the people who sent our education secretary packing? Oh, and they got a homeschooling problem? Oh, yeah, let's fast track this. Yeah, send this right over to them. Yep, give it a docket number and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, don't worry about it, Deborah. We got you. We'll see you in the funny pages. What do you think? And you can take it any way you want. And I know public officials listen to this show. So let me say it to you plainly. I don't care if you think that it's political retribution. You drew first blood. That's how that goes. Remember everything you said. Remember everything you posted. Remember every platitude you made. You got on television and you cursed that man. You cursed his administration. And you went so far as to curse the people who voted for him. You were as divisive as it could come. And he's got the bully pulpit. And you think that it's not going to be used? You want to sit up here and talk about political retribution? Talk to your homeboy, Hakeem Jeffries, or Chuck Schumer, or any other Democrat for that matter, who says that when they allegedly take the House and the Senate in the midterms, they're going to turn the arrows towards us. They're going to prosecute. They're going to indict, and impeach. Well, it ain't November yet. And as, you know, my mama liked to say, I have to get you to pay for old and new. That's all I'm saying. You asked for it. You asked. I would have played nice. So here we are. It's just sometimes it goes down like that. Let me take Evan real quick. How you doing, sir?
Hey, a quick throwback to yesterday, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, I don't care. That's fine.
You had a couple of the religious folks on yesterday. I forget the
Tom and Debbie Beryl.
Tom and Debbie, but thank you. So, there was a little bit of trying to justify calling progressives evil, but you were trying not to use the word, which I could appreciate. I just don't understand where they forgot that Jesus, provided free health care and fed the needy for free. Isn't that what Jesus did?
Evan, let me counter that a little bit, okay? When someone says that people are evil, are you taking that description as meaning all because it was said? And let me explain to that to what I mean in that respect.
No, I'm definitely not.
Okay, because when they are saying that there is evil and things that people are doing are evil, it's not so much about they even know that it is. Some people can do things, like I have this argument about the Joker, right? The Joker knows what he's doing is evil, right? But Bane does not. Bane thinks what he's doing is justified. So I kind of look at evil in this sense, is like there is the known evildoers, and then there are people who are doing evil things that they think are right. Then I'm using, of course, fictional characters, but I'm using sort of a broad description that people can understand. Thanos wanted to get rid of half the universe because he thought it was for the benefit of the world. He didn't see it as evil. He thought it for his good. It was the good sacrifice. So I'm not saying that people are evil because they do evil things. I'm recognizing the action as being evil. Isn't that fair?
Right. Yeah, that's completely fair, and I actually fully agree. So my point here with people who are religious who came on yesterday is I don't think Republicans are evil in nature. Mm-hmm. They just do some evil things. There's actually Republicans who do things that I agree with, but some of the evil things they do, to me, is taking health care away from the poor and giving lack of access and making it so costly that people can't afford it when Jesus literally did it for free and told us we should.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Listen, I'll put it this way. Is it fair to, do you want religious leaders or people like Tom and Debbie to be precise in their description or pointing out the evildoers? and you feel like what they were doing was a blanket statement about evil.
No. So
okay.
Fortunately, you and I agree there. I don't think that's what they were doing.
Okay.
I would hope that they would be able to call out not just people on the left, but people on the right for literally not doing the basic tenets of what Jesus said to do.
That is a bigger and longer conversation that we can't have on a radio show, because I would almost contest your description of Jesus' message or his deeds. But like I said, that's for another time. But I don't, thank you for asking if you could talk about yesterday's show. That's always fine. I tell everybody you can bring up last year's show. That's no big deal.
Hey, I appreciate that.
No problem, Evan. Welcome back, man. It's good to hear your voice again.
Thanks.
You got it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views when we return. We'll take some more phone calls. We got Mark Christopher coming up. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
Yes, download the Odyssey app or go to WTIC.com or ReeseOnTheRadio.com so you can find out what you missed on this program. That's why we have.
Now, what have we learned?
What have we learned?
What have we learned from this little fable?
So what have we learned, if nothing else, children?
So what have we learned, huh? So what have we learned from that?
So what have we learned here today?
What have we learned so far?
What we learned is racism is for sale. That's what we learned. There is an open market for racism, and we found out the hard way. Here it is.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive, sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the banking system to perpetrate that fraud. I just want to talk about a couple of brief things here. The Southern Poverty Law Center themselves advertise to raise money to dismantle violent extremist groups for a period of at least a decade. They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups. However, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the money they raised from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups. I just want to
Hey, racist for sale or rent. Bigot about 50 cents. Oh, it's the most amazing thing ever. By the way, whoever showed me that video of them saying that we have to pay for races, that AI video, that was fantastic. I saw it earlier this morning. Absolutely great. There you go right there. There's your parody song. Bigot for sale or rent. No, we don't. Oh, yeah, no. I'm just saying. But we don't have time for what? I know we have to go. I said we should make a parody song about that. I don't have a parody song for that. I didn't make up one yet. I should have. Totally should have. But, I was busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Doesn't matter. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
There we go. Okay, we're back. Reese on the radio. By the way, next week, Wednesday, we've got some other guests coming up as well. Someone from the Gary Sinise Foundation is coming up. In fact, let me just get that information first. So starting off on Tuesday, we have Abby Wadsworth Barretto for the Love of Veterans Honoring Service with the Gary Sinise Foundation. We'll be here at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, the 28th. And then on Wednesday, we are going to have the gentleman I met at the National Work Zone Awareness Week presser yesterday, David Ferraro of the Department of Transportation. He will be our guest. He got me this hat today that says, "Obey the Orange." That's what that says, "Obey the Orange." And I thought it was so apropos because, that's what they call Donald Trump, the Orange Man. So obey the orange. That one's for you. That one's for you. And also tomorrow we got Mike Ortiz coming in tomorrow's program. You might have noticed this. It's like, Reese, you're doing a lot of guests. And it's true. I gotta be honest. It's a bit much for me. It's a bit much. But if I can tell you a little bit of inside baseball, it is really, really because of you. Now, what do I mean by that? The word is out that this is one of the most listened to programs in Connecticut. And it is showing up leaps and bounds. And that is, I know I got to do the job to keep you here. So I just want you to know that it is because of you. Whatever I'm doing, you're liking and you're listening and they notice. And the phone calls and the emails and the text messages, they are coming. And they are excited, and they're excited for the show. They want to do business with you. That's the deal. That's how this works. So whether they care about me at all or what we do on this show, that may be of no consequence to them. But they want to reach out to you, and that's the reason why they're coming in. And I'm very gracious. I don't do a whole lot of no, not really interested. I'm not really rude like that. I may say maybe in a couple of weeks. Because I have so much stuff that's going on and it's on my plate, I want to really convey that and talk to you. And I don't want to distract from that because you come here for a particular thing or an important thing, sticking to the issues. You may like the guests, but you don't always want the guests. And don't think I haven't recognized that. I am not. I'm not off the agenda, so to speak. And I use that term loosely, but you know what I mean. My focus is clear. Is what I'm trying to say. So I want to appreciate all the people who have called in. That's why we're having these guests on, and we'll bring them on for you so you can know what's going on in and around town. And those three guests, I believe, are an example of that. Before I get to the phone calls, I want to read this. You may have heard, I don't know if a lot of you have Truth Social, but Donald Trump, of course, has responded to the Virginia vote yesterday to gerrymander that state, making it a 10-1 Democrat to Republican state. Here's what he wrote. A rigged election took place last night in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. All day long, Republicans were winning. The sprint was unbelievable until the very end when, of course, there was a massive mail-in ballot drop. Where have I heard that before? And the Democrats eked out another crooked victory. 6-5 goes to 10-1. And yet, the presidential election in November was very close to a 50-50 split. In addition to everything else, the language on the referendum was purposefully unintelligible and deceptive. As everyone knows, I am an extraordinarily brilliant person, and even I had no idea what the hell they were talking about in the referendum, and neither do they. Let's see if the courts will fix this travesty of justice. Your president, Donald J. Trump. I give him props for that. And he is unafraid to respond. Before I get to the person who you guys asked for when we were talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center, we'll get to him in a minute. Let's go to John in Avon. How you doing, John?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I had to just call in because of your last caller.
Oh, Evan.
The poor man thinks that Republicans are taking money from the poor.
Well, it's a longer conversation for me to have because
Jesus did it. And so here's the simple answer.
Yes, sir.
Jesus never told the government to give money to the poor. He told you to give money to the poor.
Ooh,
we as individuals should be very generous.
And we are.
Be generous with other people's money, which is tax money.
That is a very important distinction in the conversation about Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, John. And again, we'll establish. Evan will be back. Thank you, buddy. Now let's get to him because I know you love him. Well, some of you hate him, but I think you all kind of secretly just adore him. White Mike is on the line. What's going on, buddy? Are you sticking to the subject or you got your own?
Well, I remember seeing a photo of Mark Potok, that evil gremlin demon who runs the SPLC, standing in front of a printout he had on his wall of his office, counting the decreased population of white people in America and smiling about it.
Wow.
So these people are pieces of garbage. It does not surprise me they were false flagging and paying people to stir up crap. Now, the thing in Charlottesville, man, I think that the people who showed up had a legitimate point because I don't believe in erasing history. Robert E. Lee was an important figure in American history, and he should be there for no other reason to remind people what happens when a nation falls apart.
Yeah.
So I don't support the SPLC at all. I'm happy. I hope they lose their butts because, dude, if we're going to talk about racist crimes in America, and they never talk about the real racist crimes in America, the murder rate of black people on white people versus white people on black people is staggering.
It is.
You are like 3.5 times more likely to be killed by a black person as a white person than vice versa.
It's really,
So
to be
the
honest with
SPLC
you,
is nonsense.
compared to the pre-civil rights movement, it is a photo negative of that. No, you're 100% right. But let me ask you this, because this is very important, and I was joking about it earlier, poking fun of it. What does it say about the Klan that they took money from the SPLC, a pro-LGBTQ, pro-Muslim, that really destroys the credibility of these so-called Aryan groups.
So was it the Klan or was it like Patriot Front, one of these people, like that Richard Spencer?
No, according to the report, they were like the actual KKK, the Aryan Nation, these organizations, according to the indictment. You know, some of them with these offshoots, like, what was it, the Klan of America or something along those lines? Like some of them had real ridiculous kind of names.
Look, man, I grew up in Louisiana. At one time, the world headquarters of the Klan was in Denham Springs, Louisiana.
Oh, I know that place.
And the Klan has been so infiltrated by the FBI for decades that the Klan's a joke. You meet a Klansman, they're either a toothless hillbilly or they're somebody getting paid by the feds to start trouble. I don't believe in it. Now, there are true pro-white organizations out there that are, and there's nothing wrong with an organization having white people's interests in mind. I'm tired of that. That's racist. Look out for your own people, because there's tons of organizations for other ethnic groups. NAACP, La Raza, LULAC, all these people. So if white folks got somebody looking out for them, people need to shut the hell up and let them be. I think white people have every right to legislate and advocate for the preservation of our people. Because if you got any black listeners out there, I'm going to tell you, folks, you owe everything to Whitey. You should thank us. Everything you have is because of white people. Everything.
You know what that reminds me of? That conversation that Bill Burr has in that comedy special where he and his wife are debating the Elvis Presley documentary. And she was talking about how, Elvis stole everything from the black folks and didn't even give them props. And then he turned around and brought up Flight.
And on that subject, you're an Elvis fan, so that bothers the crap out of me.
It does, because it's a lie.
Black people loved Elvis.
Indeed.
B.B. King loved Elvis. Little Richard loved Elvis.
Indeed.
Chuck Berry loved Elvis.
Sure
Elvis
did.
refused to have his black backup singers be subject to the segregation of the segregation of the South. So I don't want to hear crap about Elvis. Matter of fact, Elvis was a liberal, and my people would have called him an N-word lover.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I don't want to hear Elvis being called a racist. Elvis loved black people, and to be fair, there's talk that Elvis was Jewish.
I didn't know that.
Elvis's mother claimed Jewish heritage, and Elvis wore Star of David a lot.
I do remember that. Jewish. I totally forgot about that. That is a good point.
And your buddy there who talked about, Jesus and all this healthcare stuff, you can create a charitable healthcare system in this country, but you have to eliminate the potential for lawsuits.
That's right.
I worked for a dentist who was a good old boy, one of the last Southern gentleman dentists, and we did free work for people all the time if they needed it. Like we did free fillings on kids and stuff, but you can't do that now. You do something for free, they can still sue you.
Yeah, that's right. There's a literal
lose your butt.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
If this dude's so charitable, I bet he's not volunteering at the free clinic on the weekends and giving his time. But he ain't poking up a penny to buy some poor kid some health care, so he can shut his mouth. He's another loudmouth liberal who is more than willing to volunteer other people's time and money. You don't have a right to tell anybody to have to labor for free because it makes you feel better.
Isn't that wild, though? Because, again, you would ask them the same question. It was like, isn't that a form of slavery? Because in essence saying someone morally must give something away for free. Their service, their labor, that's slavery, ladies and gentlemen. Just because they do it freely doesn't mean it isn't.
And in closing, when they say, do you think progressives are evil? First of all, there's no such thing as progressives, only leftists now. There's leftists, no progressives. And when they say, do you think they're evil? You say, well, do they want to turn little boys into little girls?
That indeed is evil, my friend.
Do they
I made that argument.
Do they want to allow gay men to adopt little boys, which has been statistically shown to be a very bad idea? Do they want men to dress in women's locker rooms? Ask them if that's evil and see what kind of squirm you get. Because, yeah, I do hold they're evil. I think I'm not Christian, but these people are demonic and evil, and the things they support are the very definition of evil because victimizing the innocent is evil.
Wow. I hear you. Thank you, sir, as always.
And he can put that in his liberal pipe and smoke it as far as I'm concerned.
God bless you. And you know what? I have to award you on how clean that entire dissertation was.
Well, good. I didn't mention the small hats one time.
Good. Get out of here. Come on. White Mike, ladies and gentlemen, always there for the controversy. Craig in the car. What's going on, big guy?
I got news for you. That wasn't that clean. You're just building up a higher tolerance.
He didn't say one curse word.
Well, okay. We have a different definition of clean. So one thing I don't have on my resume is I did not work for the last Southern gentleman dentist. Wow. That's an accomplishment.
He knows how to bring it home, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But, like, you know, you make me follow him all the time.
I'm sorry. You're the one who decides to call this late in the show.
I know. You know, I kind of want to be like Mike. Yeah. So along those lines, can we please stop calling all these street takeovers teen street takeovers?
Yeah, no kidding.
Because I don't think that's the common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Unless the cops are going out there and carding all these people and saying, okay, you're 19 or less. There's some more commonalities there than just being a teen.
You're 100% right.
I don't see a lot of Mormons in street takeovers.
Why are they, you know what, I don't even know why they're focusing on it so much now, but I'm seeing it everywhere. And I was like, another teen and a takeover. These are not takeovers, folks. These are riots. That's what they are. Trying to call them something else is either trying to wash it over or something, but there's something far more dangerous happening in these riots. And they have to be called what they are.
Like I said, Reese, the being a teen is not the common denominator. I've seen the video.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Just say
they
they're
all
black
look like
takeovers.
Mugshots. I'm sorry. They all look like mugshots. If you're running away from the cops holding up your pants, yeah, you're probably not going to Bible school on Sunday.
Without a doubt. You know what? It's interesting what's considered rebellion today, and it's usually stuff like this. Thank you, Craig. I'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.
You got it. All right, we got to get up out of here. I hope it was a wonderful day, and I will take Lori's advice. I will post my monologue about Klan cookies online tonight, so you'll be able to share it and like it in roughly about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. That'll be posted. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. And Mark Christopher is here